So a bit of a short video today. I'm working on my H virus video, but if you'll look in my community post section, you'll see what I posted 2 days ago about it. I'm doing a pretty lengthy video on it, but I needed to show something, so while that's in the works, Leelee from Deep Impact. Deep Impact yesterday on 5/8 just had its 28-year anniversary. You know, I just did that big video on it. She's currently 42 years old, and remember that she was born on June 10th, 1983. Well, how crazy is it then that for the 28-year anniversary of Deep Impact, she is 15,673 days old. Our 156, which connects to 9/11 twice, as I've shown several times, with our EL number. That, of course, means if I were to include the end date, it would be our 9/11 twice number with our 74, the big 250-year anniversary this year. Now, it's also 42 years, 10 months, and 28 days. That can be a 42. You know, Elvis died at the age of 42. Washington is the 42nd state. 4/2 or April 2nd is 162 days before 9/11. With our 128. The 128th day of the year is 5/8, when Deep Impact came out. And this is going from her birth to 5/8/2026. Now you can also look at it as 4/21, the Seattle Space Needle's opening date, and then add 28 days to that, and you land on 5/19. And 5/19 is the 421st composite. 42 plus 10 plus 28 is also 80, and 80 is the 57th composite. Michelle Trachtenberg died on the 57th day of the year, 226, and Seattle Slew died on 5/7, the 127th day of the year. And this one right here is probably the biggest one, because May 14th plus 28 days would land on 6/11. So going from Leelee birth date to the 28-year anniversary of Deep Impact, which she stars in, 514 months, 28 days. Consider that May 14th, add 28 days, get your 6/11. And remember, this is the 28-year anniversary of the film. And by the way, she is also in Joyride with Paul Walker, about a trucker chasing them down after a CB radio prank goes wrong. Remember how Walker died 12 years and 7 days before the 84-year anniversary of Pearl Harbor, and that he played Lance Harbor in that film Varsity Blues, which starred James Van Der Beek, who had a very coded death himself this year. And she is also in the 2006 remake of The Wicker Man. Remember the original Wicker Man, all about May Day, the island of paganism, sacrifice? She plays Sister Honey in this film, starring Nicolas Cage, who winds up getting sacrificed in this remake, and has that unintentionally funny scene where he's like, "No, not the bees." So this remake came out September 1st, 2006. So it came out 7,178 days before the whole Trump Charles III beehive thing. 71 plus 78 is 149. JFK was born on the 149th day of the year. You know what happened to him. And 178 plus 7 is 185. 185 is the 142nd composite. The 142nd day of the year, 5/22. Memphis' founding date, the Gift Tower Sacrifice air date. It's also 19 years, 7 months, 26 days. 19/7, that can be like 7/19, Trump's reverse birthday in the year 2026. And can also be 197 plus 26, which would be 223, our backwards 322 skull and bones. 235 months, 26 days. 235 plus 26 is 261, our backwards 162, 611. 1,025 weeks and 3 days. Add 3 to 1,025, it's 1,028. Drop the 0, 128. Again, the 128th day of the year is 5/8. Deep Impact came out on 5/8. 1966.58% of a common year. 1966 was the last Firehorse year, and we have our 5/8 yet again. And by the way, with that release date, it's also the fact that Elvis is 91 years old in the year 2026. Now, this guy, Jonathan Tiersten, just died recently, and he was in the film Sleepaway Camp, a low-budget slasher from 1983 with a psychotic transformer, if you know what I mean. And in that film, a guy gets killed while he's on the toilet reading a magazine by someone cutting through the window behind him and throwing a beehive in there with him. So more bee stuff. He plays Ricky Thomas in that film, and Ricky equals 66, the twin number, and Thomas, of course, means twin. He also died at the age of 60. What Super Bowl did we just have that was all about Elvis? And you know why the 60 is such a big number? Sleepaway Camp also equals 666 in reverse satanic gematria. Now, Sleepaway Camp came out on November 18th, and that is the 322nd day of the year. Skull and Bones running time, 84 minutes. In fact, one of the victims of the psychotic killer in the film is played by Catherine Kami, and she was born on Seattle Sleuth's birth date, February 15th, 1964. And of course, KK, that's 11/11. Washington State was founded on 11/11. And they had sequels. This one, Sleepaway Camp 2, Unhappy Campers, released on 2/2/88. And just like Sleepaway Camp equals 666 in reverse satanic, this one's subtitle, Unhappy Campers, equals 666 in satanic. Also our 67 up there. And then we have the third one, Teenage Wasteland, and look at its release date. August 4th, 1989, our 8/4. In fact, the running time is 79 minutes, Trump's age through 6/11, and the uncut version is 84 minutes. Interesting to note, if we go from Sleepaway Camp 3's 8/4 release date to 8/4 this year, it's 13,514 days. 135 plus 14 is 149, and again, JFK was born on the 149th day of the year, and this is going from 8/4/89 to 8/4/2026. Tiersten is said to have died last week, but his death was announced on 5/5, the Satan number. 5/14 plus 13 would also be 5/27, the Golden Gate Bridge's birthday. Exactly 37 years for our EL number, or 444 months, half of our 888 beast system number. And getting back to Deep Impact, not only is it 28 years since it was released, it's also 10,227 days. Of course, February 27th plus 10 would be March 9th, or 3/9. And again, 39 is the 26 composite, again pointing to the year 2026. Also, I forgot to mention in my Deep Impact video that, I was going to talk about how the Biedermann Comet was going to strike at 4:35 Eastern Time. That would, of course, be 1:35 Seattle Time. And that the bigger comet, Wolf, was going to strike in Western Canada, which, of course, is in Seattle's time zone, 3 hours later. So that would make it 4:35 Seattle time when it was going to strike. Of course, it gets stopped, but that would have been twin 4:35s. Now, that said, 4:35 in Seattle would be 7:35 Eastern, which is, of course, where Biedermann struck. And 35 plus 7 is your 42. Again, it's just one of those movies that has far too many codes to go through. And finally, I wanted to talk real quick about The Stand from 1994, as it premiered on 5/8. An incredibly coded film itself. I've been meaning to decode it forever now, but still haven't gotten to it. But as of yesterday, it was 11,688 days old. Our 88 Lionsgate portal, trump double infinity number with our 611. You can also do 1 plus 1 is 2, and 6 plus 8 is 22. Your 222 order out of chaos as above so below number. Or 688 plus 11 is 699. Turn those 9s upside down, you got your 666. Now it was a 4-part miniseries, and the final part aired on May 12th. That's where Vegas gets nuked. So from that date to yesterday, 11,684 days. Our 84 and our 611 perfectly together. And 116 plus 84 is 200. Trump's reverse birthday is the 200th day of the year, 7/19. The villain in the film is Randall Flagg. Remember that Trump was born on Flag Day. Now with the 31 years, you can look at that as March 1st. Plus 11 plus 26 would land on 4/7. Trump, the 45-47 president. And since 5/12 is the episode where the nuke goes off in that series, going from that date to 6/11 this year, 11,718 days. 1 plus 1 is 2. 7 plus 1 plus 8 is 16. 216. Or if you just want to leave that 11, it can be 1116, your upside down 91101 number. And this is going to 6/11. 32 years, 30 days. Consider that March 2nd plus 30. Land on 4/1, the Seattle Space Needle prank date, the 91st day of the year, who is currently 91 years of age. And 384 plus 30 is 414. 414 is the 333rd composite half of 666. Now, if you want to go from the series premiere on 5/8/94 to 6/11, it's 11,722 days. Of course, you've got your 722, which is 6/11's reverse date. And 7 plus 2 plus 2 is 11, so that could be 11/11. And remember that Washington State was founded on 11/11. Of course, there's also the fact that 722 plus 11 would land on August 2nd. 8/2 equals Seattle, and 8/2 is J.D. Vance's birth date. And this is the last thing I'm going to show for this video. Well, the 84 connections. From 5/8/94 to 8/4 this year, 11,776 days. Now, I found that incredibly interesting because we have our 1776 in there. And of course, this year is the 250-year anniversary of the country. Now, ones are reset numbers, so you could just drop that first one, of course. So I think that's pretty interesting to say the least, especially since this series involves a nuke. And you know Southland Tales, which I talk about all the time because of how incredibly coded it is all about a nuclear attack, twin nuclear attack at that, on July 4th, 2005. Now 7 plus 7 plus 6 is 20, so this could be 1120. Erica Franzve was born on 1120, and she supposedly married Charlie Kirk on 5/8/2021. So again, it connects. And remember that 1120, its prime number is 9011. So your 911 connection there. And then you can also add the 1 plus 1, and it would be 220. Remember, the 220th day of the year is 8/8, and add up all the World Trade Center floors, and you get 220. And lastly, from the finale on 5/12, when Vegas gets nuked, to 8/4 this year, 11,772 days. 1 plus 1 is 2. 7 plus 7 plus 2 is 16. 216 again. 216 is 8/4, and this is going to 8/4. And 32 plus 2 plus 23 is 57. You know all about the 57th day of the year and 5/7 by now. You also got your 322 skull and bones, both forwards and backwards. In fact, it's a perfect mirror. So, just a quick video today. Oh, hold on real quick. Can't forget to point out that percentage. 322, 5.21% of a common year. That's your 322 skull and bones again with your 521. 521 is the 141st day of the year. 141 is what Seattle slew World War III, and June 11th all equal in gematria. So yeah, just a quick video here with some very interesting connections, but brief. I am still putting together my video about the H-virus, about Ted Turner. Look at my community post for at least a preview of it. And I'm also putting together the video about the bell with Charles III and how it connects to something very important. All glory to God, and thank you for watching.